Hello, how are you doing? I wanted to talk about money today and investing and how we purchase. So recently, in terms of my business, I've made some quite hairy, scary decisions where I've invested in stuff. And every time it comes up, like it's for the first time, where it's almost like I have to learn this skill again. And it gets easier, but it never gets comfortable. That's probably a good way to describe it. Because seeing yourself as a business and also fighting that thing that I have a lot of, like, I'll just do it myself. Like, I can do that. I have a real, a real martyr syndrome where I love to do stuff myself and I overwork myself and I'm not very good at asking for help. And so again, that's been a skill set that I've had to learn. And I've been watching how I've been purchasing over the last few months, I guess, as I've gone through this transition. And when I am focusing on something, I don't know if you've had this as well, you start to see it everywhere and you start to open your ears to conversations and tune into stuff, or a part of the newspaper or a website, it just kind of jumps out at you. And suddenly the stuff that you're working on is everywhere. And I heard Martin Lewis talking about this in terms of purchasing and smart purchasing. And I think so much of what he does is fantastic because I think he really simplifies finances, and he talks about it, and he talks about it in quite a non-emotional way. And I always feel like I have something to learn, which is really great. And he talks about things from a very logical point of view of how much things cost and do you have the money to be able to buy that. Good, smart, savvy, financial sense. However, I'm going to throw some other stuff in the mix. He was telling this story, and I actually can't remember what the price difference was, but he was talking to an ex-girlfriend. It's on the Davina McCall YouTube channel. And he was with an ex-girlfriend. I think she was an ex-girlfriend. And she was purchasing some boots. And she couldn't make up her mind, like, which boots she was going to purchase. And I think he said there was a £60 price difference. So quite something. And what he did in order for her to decide was to show her what 60 quid cash looked like. And was like, do you like these boots? Or and this 60 cash? Or do you like these ones? And so I can imagine this person being in this dilemma of like, oh gosh, now I see it. This is a different decision, or I'm moving into a different way. And that makes sense, of course. There are some decisions that we make that going for the cheapest option is the right option. And when you see that cash like that, you're like, okay, do I like these £60 worth more or not? And it gives you more questions. However, a couple of years ago, I made a decision that I was only going to buy the thing that I actually wanted to buy. And that's not me saying like, I've just got £1 million under my bed that I don't know what to do with. Far from it. But that again did take me back to that childhood place of like, this is the thing that I want. And if it takes me 6 months to save up for that thing, I'm going to do that. And that conflicts with sometimes what happens on the internet is people go, buy now, invest now, get moving, get started. And there has been some times where I've gone, no, hold back. Don't just spend, don't just make a move for the sake of it. Pull back, take a moment and really assess what you need to do and what's going on for you. And try and think about the long-term moment. And to go back to the boots, sometimes there are purchases where, even though on paper, you go, I should really get the cheaper boots. I should save that 60 quid. But if those boots are not the boots that you want and you want the other things, don't buy the boots. Get the more expensive ones. Because there have been moments where I've gone for the cheaper option and I still haven't got what I needed. And I think making that decision and getting really clear about what the outcome of that situation is will really help you decide whether you need to purchase. So certainly as I've got older, I have spent more and more on skincare. And I used to be like, I was lucky. I was ginger, so at school, which was never good. But I think it was almost like, we're going to give you that ginger gene, but we're not going to cause you much hassle with your skin. Like, it will be fine. And I didn't really have loads of spots at school, and it was pretty kind of clear and good. But certainly as I've got older, and certainly since having kids, my skin is probably like the worst it's ever been. And therefore, I've really had to take care of it and really pay attention to it. And so in terms of that purchasing process, I will go to Space NK and I will spend money on a moisturizer, because not only does it feel like it's good ingredients for my skin, it makes me feel good as well. And also there's something about that ritual in the evening that I do it every single night, where this particular cleanser, which I know that I could get for 11 quid, because that was the one that I used to buy, this cleanser is like a process that I do every night. And sometimes when I'm doing that moment, that's when I have those ideas of like, whew, not going to do that anymore. Oh, I know what I need to do, because I'm taking that time. So when we're making purchases, it's not just about the logical on paper situation. It's what it's going to do for your life as well. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that things like points cards really pull us in. And over lockdown, our food bills just went through the roof because we were all at home, and somehow we were all eating about 21 meals per day. And for example, my Nectar card points started to go up quite drastically. And even though I shop at lots of different places, that's kind of our biggest supermarket near where we live. And what I found I was doing was I was chasing £2.50. Because when you get 500 points, if you're a Nectar card person, you will know this. When you get 500 points, you get £2.50 back. And that's great. But that is a mindset of being a teenager, of being like, oh, brilliant. Oh, I'll get that. Or, playing with pocket money things. And what I was finding sometimes is that I actually wasn't buying stuff that I needed or wanted, and there were other places where I wanted to get those things. One thing that I'm doing at the moment is I'm really passionate about trying to reduce my plastic. So we've got a new pick and mix shop near where we live, and I'm trying to buy rice in paper bags, for example, rather than just buying a plastic bag every time. And that makes me feel good. That's really good for the planet. It's really good food. Often it's organic and things that I'm passionate about. So again, with that purchasing moment, why was I chasing that £2.50, which I could make in a couple of minutes in my business, not even, why was I being in that mindset? So I've given you a lot of really funky analogies today, really funky. What does that even mean? But complex analogies, you'll see them popping up, because again, when we're talking about this, you might be like, oh yeah, I spend that, or I go and buy my petrol from that place because I've got a car, I've got a point system for it, but actually it's not great petrol, or it takes me out of my way, or by the time I'm in my car, I've probably used that amount of petrol to get to that place. All I'm saying is, as we go into September and this kind of final third of the year, which is often the golden third of the year, where lots of people really start to make some serious cash, notice your purchasing habits, and don't necessarily notice them from what you've been told in the past. because sometimes what we need is to really think about you, where you're at right now, and what you need. So I hope that's been useful. I've enjoyed chatting about this today. As always, I love to hear your thoughts. Please follow the link down below, because there'll be some freebies and lovely stuff. And also, if you're interested in working one-to-one, do let me know as well. But for now, I'm sending lots of love. Thanks for watching, for listening, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.